right, and we're back. It's been a minute since I've made a video on YouTube here, but I'm back, and today is going to be a little bit different. Please follow me along with this one as a wild ride. Please like, comment, subscribe, uh, recommend anything below, because today we're going on an adventure. So let's talk about J.D. Vance.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans? The media calls us racist for wanting to build Trump's wall. They censor us, but it doesn't change the truth.
Okay, so obviously that opening statement alone is racist on so many levels that it's kind of hard to comprehend that not only did he say those things and then nobody said anything, but then somebody recorded that, they didn't say anything, somebody else had the proof watch it and like read it, and like they had to edit the video, and nobody mentioned like how blatantly racist that was. Like, even if you're trying to appeal to the fact that like maybe America does need to do something about its immigration policy, which, it's so convenient that we need to do something dramatic about it now versus, I don't know, let's say like the 1840s. But I guess that was a different time and a different situation, and for some reason those people and those immigrants didn't have any negative impacts on society, only positive ones. But apparently the Hispanic and Mexican populations only have negative effects, and that's why we need to stop them from coming in. Here's some statistics that kind of show a little bit differently, kind of show some positive effects. So before we close this border, we may need to kind of like respect the people that are actually coming here and putting in their hard work and giving their effort into making this country better.
Joe Biden's open border is killing Ohioans, with more illegal drugs and more Democrat voters pouring into this country. This issue is personal. I nearly lost my mother to the poison coming across our border. No child should grow up an orphan.
Okay, so I'm genuinely a little bit confused on where I should get started, but let's start off with the fact that he is conflating literal drug dealers and like illegal immigrants together. He's also conflating those with both of those with Democratic voters. It's ridiculous. Like, you assuming that like everyone who's going to come over here is going to vote democratically. Like, do you know how freaking conservative like most minorities are? Like especially like in the Hispanic community. So if anything, you would have probably gained voters with more people coming over here and like from those countries. Second of all, the mom thing and like the drug thing, I gotta bring up something because if you don't know, this guy made a movie about his life called like The Hillbilly something. I'm gonna post it up here, but in it describes his mom and her drug problems throughout history. I'm gonna post the information that I found, but Mexicans had almost nothing to do at all with his mom's drug addiction. His mom was a nurse. After a nervous breakdown of her father passing away, which, obviously that can affect anybody, she started stealing medicine from her patients and then getting addicted to drugs. Like, after that, she started going and buying heroin. Now, I can also bring up statistics, which I will show, that most people who were arrested for drug possession and, for selling drugs, like heroin, are actually white people. And it's kind of weird that now you're just using all these things that if you say them separately, it can be like, oh yeah, Mexicans and, it's clearly all the drugs are coming from across the border. But no, this isn't the same. These are two completely different things. This lady literally got addicted to drugs that she was selling from a hospital, or not selling, but she was a nurse. She was actually stealing it from patients who actually really needed it and then getting addicted to it herself. It's very sad, but it's also nothing to do with the border issue. If we even have a border issue for real. So, and also, we live in Ohio. it's very strange for me. Ohio is very far away from the Mexican border. I can show you a picture of where Ohio is if you're not familiar, and then where the Mexican border is if you're not familiar. It takes a lot to get there, you know. So it's just a little strange to me that he's running off this stance, and these are like there's a difference between dog whistling something like you're racist and then just shouting it to the ceiling that like I literally am racist and I hate Mexicans. You started off with, do you hate Mexicans? Do people consider you racist? I'm sorry, but when you make an opening statement like that, it makes me think that at the bare minimum, you are supportive of racist behaviors that are treated towards this group of people. I'm black myself, so I'm sorry if I'm a little sensitive about people not even dog whistling their racism. They're just like openly saying it out there. It just feels like when you do that, you also should be called out for it. So that's what this video is for. Does he have anything else that he can say?
I'm JD Vance, and I approve this message because whatever they call us, we will put America first.
Vance is running on bringing jobs to Ohio and taking on big tech, though he has gotten millions from a super PAC formed by PayPal's.
Okay, so we can acknowledge that he's a hypocrite. He has, I haven't put it in the video, but he has made plenty of statements in opposition to Trump. And then around the 2020 election, he has a lot of pro-Trump rhetoric with very little explanation on how his stance went from one end to the other. Also, this guy is a venture capitalist. If you're not familiar, he's pretty much like part of the system that is like why America is like in financial trouble as we speak. It's also a shame because if you look at his policies, a lot of his things have nothing to do with Ohio. Like he's running for Ohio Senate, but his policies clearly do not benefit Ohio. The border wall wouldn't really affect Ohio in a positive light. Bringing back manufacturing jobs, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but there are just not going to be as many in the same type of manufacturing jobs as there used to be. Factories, things like that, obviously they're still going to exist, but the reason that that's not going to happen is because of capitalism. Like companies are literally wanting to make profit and make money. You can't do that paying Americans what they should be paid. Also, regarding taking down large technology companies, like I guess I can understand the sentiment behind some of it. You know, some tech companies are getting a little bit too big, and you know, unfortunately, thanks to things like capitalism that has been highly effective to them, like they're just selling out all our information for, you know, like pennies on the dollar, not really giving a crap. But people are actually going to have to start getting into technology fields going into the future. Like the more we progress through time, there are going to be less jobs of the manufacturing sort and more of the technology sort. I mean, you're still going to need people to make things, but you have to pay people to do those things. And in America, we are not going to pay people what they should be paid. If we're going to make you do something, we're going to underpay you. That way, other people who manage things can make more profits. And that's just how money and capitalism works. And this guy, being a venture capitalist, clearly understands that. He's just using rhetoric to like pretend as if like those systems don't exist, or even use a rhetoric saying that he's going to change those systems when he's not. He's literally just going to profit from those systems in a different way. You know, he's going to run for Senate. He's not going to pay taxes anymore. Like this, there are tons of reasons why I am very hesitant to believe in his like political plans, especially when I hear his message being played on television. Honestly, messages like this may actually be worse for more conservative people, because now they all get lumped into a boat like this gentleman here, where everyone's just going to assume, oh, you are conservative, you're a Republican. I saw a J.D. Vance commercial. He said that those type of people hate Mexicans or hate Latinos or hate Hispanic people. And it's going to look bad for your whole party just seeing this guy campaign for Ohio Senate. So I'm sure this video isn't going to make too much of a difference, probably none at all, but you know, I still feel like it needs to be out there. People need to see it. Maybe somebody, if I can change one person's viewpoint or help one person see what this guy's talking about or what he's doing, you know, and hopefully change their opinion, you know, or if not, they spread out and they change someone else's opinion, I'd be very happy. Let's see if he's got one final thing to say here before we end it.
You know, my family worked at the steel mill. They didn't own the steel mill. They were affected negatively when the jobs got outsourced. A lot of people benefited and made a lot of money when the jobs got outsourced. And so I just think I bring a lot different perspective, frankly, a perspective that's more and more common among our actual voters, that stands against the elites of our party who don't care about a lot of our own voters.
Vance does a lot of national TV, even more social media, but it's retail politics like this that he believes will serve him well in a couple months in the May primary. John London, WLWT News.
Retail politician is actually the perfect name for this, because this guy's clearly just trying to sell us a bunch of bullshit that we do not need. It's really sad when I'm like watching this video, because what he's doing is he's gonna use people's prejudice to try to gain votes, which even if he doesn't win, which I'm assuming he will not, but he's still gonna make it so that those prejudice that people had and felt come out, and they're gonna come out even more. And I mean, unfortunately, that's the same thing that happened with Trump. And this guy's literally running on, another big platform is that he is supported by Trump. So like, he's just gonna bring more prejudice. And I don't want to make this like an anti-Trump thing or whatever, but this guy is prejudice, and we need to call that out when we see it. And I mean, I know some people may say like, oh, he's not prejudiced. His wife is actually from India, or she's Indian of that descent. I'm sorry, guys. Like, you can like one group of people and still be prejudiced against another group of people. Like, being prejudiced is like, everything in life is complicated, and more than one thing in life can be true at once. So, I guess that's where we ended here, guys. I don't really have too much else to say besides that this guy should probably never hold political office or be in charge of making decisions for the public of Ohio or any other state in the union. So that's me. Bye. Okay, so normally at the end of like a more comedy video, I'll add something like, political or something. But since this is the opposite, here's just some random funny thing.
There's no harm in saying what you mean. There's no harm in saying